All right, let's dig into something I think we've all seen, but maybe never really put a name to: quiet confidence. We're going to break down the psychology behind this pretty fascinating personality type and figure out what actually makes them tick. So, have you ever thought about that person in your life? You know the one. They're incredibly good at what they do, just crushing it. But you'd never, ever hear it from them, right? In a world where it feels like everyone is posting their highlight reel 24/7, these folks, they just don't. So why is that? That's the big question we're going to unpack right now. To get to the bottom of this, we have to start at the very beginning, with the foundation. And it all kicks off with something called stable self-esteem. Now, the key word here, the most important word, is stable. This isn't about feeling amazing one day because someone gave you a compliment and then feeling terrible the next because you made a mistake. No, this is a deep, solid, consistent sense of your own value that just doesn't get shaken by the daily ups and downs. Think of it like a really strong internal anchor. And it is so important not to get this confused with arrogance. They are worlds apart. You know, arrogance is usually just a cover for insecurity, right? It's that need to prove you're better than everyone else. Stable self-esteem, though, it's not about being superior. It's just about being secure in who you are. And that security, well, that's where you get some incredible resilience. Okay, so if you've got this stable foundation, how does it actually play out in your behavior? Well, it creates this powerful internal guidance system, kind of like an inner compass that you use to judge your own worth and your own actions. And folks, this right here is the secret sauce. It's called an internal locus of evaluation. I know, it sounds a little academic, but the idea is actually super simple. Who is your main judge? For the quietly confident person, the judge, the jury, the main audience is themselves. Their standards are all internal. Let's break this down a bit, because the difference here is, well, it's night and day. Someone with an external locus is always looking outside of themselves, asking, did people like my post? Did my boss say good job? What's everyone going to think? Their whole sense of success is basically outsourced. But for someone with an internal locus, the questions are totally different. It's more like, am I actually proud of this? Does this line up with my values? Did I meet my own standards? You see the shift? It moves you from being driven by opinions to being driven by your values. This quote just nails it. When your sense of validation comes from the inside, it doesn't just disappear when things get hard. An external source of approval? That's fragile. It can vanish with the first bit of criticism. But that internal compass, that gives you a consistent true north, something that guides you through the good times and, maybe more importantly, through the challenging ones too. So, let's follow the logic. If you have a solid sense of who you are and you're working off your own internal scorecard, what's the end result? What does that actually look like to the rest of us? Well, it often leads to a very natural tendency towards privacy. Now here's the thing you've got to get. Not boasting isn't a strategy. It's not them trying to be falsely modest or anything like that. It's just a byproduct. If you don't need applause to feel like you've succeeded, then you don't automatically go looking for it. That urge to post, to share every little win, it just isn't there. Because that loop of, I did a thing, and I feel good about it, that's already closed inside your own head. And this is a total game changer. It's not that quietly confident people never ever share their successes. Of course they do. But the reason they share is completely different. They might share something to inspire other people, or to thank the team that helped them, or just to connect with their friends. It becomes a conscious choice, one that's driven by a real purpose, not just an unconscious need for a pat on the back. Okay, let's connect all these dots. This is where you can really see how all the pieces just click right into place. So look, it all starts with that stable self-esteem. That allows you to build your internal locus of evaluation, your own inner compass. And because that compass works so well, getting validation from other people becomes optional. It's a nice to have, not a must have. And the natural result of all that? A tendency towards privacy, where you just don't feel that burning need to broadcast all your wins. It's a complete self-sustaining system. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. The next time you do something that you're really proud of, just pause for a second and ask yourself, whose approval am I really looking for here? The answer might tell you a lot about where your own personal compass is pointing. That's it for this one. Thanks for hanging out with me.